Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another open discussion. And today's topic is about interpersonal communication and social skills for introverts. So, we are going to dive deeper into this topic, understanding what um, the issues are in this particular area, why the issues are there, how they get created, and then we'll also talk about how we can develop these interpersonal skills for ourselves going forward on our journey. So that's what will be the agenda of today's call. And it's going to be an open discussion, guys. So we will have conversations. We would love to know from you guys as well about your experiences, stories, anything that you wish to share, and we will continue the conversation like that. So it's not going to be a one-way delivery call. It's going to be a conversational call. Cool. So, as far as today's topic is concerned, before I start talking, um, I would like to know from you guys that while identifying as introverts, what communication or social challenges have you seen in your life? Um, what are those challenges? So, whosoever wishes to speak first, you can just simply raise your hand. Okay. Nobody has stories to share. So I'll share my story. I also identify as an introvert. So while I was growing as a child, hmm, I remember myself as, somebody who was more comfortable um, spending more alone time. I would just be a happy-go-lucky girl watching TV at home, making drawings. I used to have this whiteboard, I remember. I would just, do solve maths on it or write poems on it. And there were some bhaiyas and didis, as neighbors, and I would play badminton with them. Sometimes I would go to the neighbor auntie's house and I would just talk. So I was uh, this kind of a person. Even going to school, I remember as a very young child, it was a little, heavy segment for me for the day because in school there were so many kids, there were so many teachers, and at times you had to take up the bus, and it used to get like a little draining even at that point that I remember. So it was just that in one word I could say it was draining. Hmm? That's what I remember as a child. While growing up, then what happened in my story is that because I was a person like this, my mom used to tell me, what is wrong with you? Why you don't talk? My mom is a complete extrovert. She loves being with people. She loves when she's, goes out for, events to the temple, meeting aunties, doing kirtan, going for satsang. Kali raat ko lohri thi, so she was tired and everything. But then 10:30 ko she got a call from one of the neighbor didis around, and she was like, "No, I have to get ready." And she took out, a lot of stuff, a lot of this eggplant, and then potatoes, and then tomato, and you know this kind of snacks and all that. And she took all of those things and she went down. And for 2 hours, she was there sitting with aunties. They were like grilling this potatoes and everything on fire, and they were chilling around. And she called me, and as usual, I was like, "No, no, no, you go. I'm sitting here. I'm doing my work." The usual story. And the same story happened over so many years. Hmm. And she would tell me, even as a child, what is wrong with you? Why you don't come for social events and this thing or that thing? As a child, because I wasn't living with my mom, so there weren't a lot of instances where I had to go out for some events or parties and all that. So हम घर पे ही रहते थे, तो उतना पता नहीं चला. But when I finished my school and I came and I started living with my mom, there used to be a lot of risk between us because every month there would be many events happening in the society and she would want me to come and I wouldn't want to go. And if I would go, those 2, 3 hours would be like a crazy drag for me. Hmm. But uh, over a period of time, I started believing that maybe there's something wrong with me. Hmm. That I don't like social gatherings. I don't like small talks. I don't like speaking to people too much. I don't like it when just so many people are around and they're just laughing and they're just talking about anything. And it used to confuse me. It used to make no sense to me, right? It was just crazy. Hmm? And I was so confused over a period of time. And uh, for many years, I also, especially when I went to college, I tried acting like an extrovert, and I was pretty successful doing that, right? Acting like an extrovert. My entire class thought that I was an extrovert. And then when we were doing this Myers-Briggs test, it came out as an introvert thing, and then everybody was like, "How can you be an introvert?" And then it was so hard for me to share it with everybody else that I'm just acting around. That's not who I am. That's not what I want to be, but it's something that I am forcing myself to do. And then one day I was speaking to one of these guys from my class, and I'm so grateful to him. And I don't know when we were having a conversation, and I just told him, Kiar, I don't want to do this, right? It feels like a drag. He was fortunately also an introvert, but he was more comfortable in his skin. His mom didn't tell him that there was something wrong with him. Mine did. So he asked me just this one question, but तुझे करना क्यों है? क्यों बनना है extrovert? And then I was like, I had an aha moment at that point of time. And that day, something shifted in me and I stopped acting that way. And then I was more at peace. I was more comfortable in my skin. I was like, नहीं करना है. It's not required at all. Hmm? So I had a story like this. This was my, introversion story. Now that was the challenge that I had faced. That a lot of times in life, this thing happens to people that at workplace, at home, at um, between the friend circle, you because people who are not like you, it's very hard for them to understand you. Hmm? So they would think that there's something wrong with you. And because introverts are are people who are more sensitive to what's happening inside them, they take it really seriously and contemplate on this. Is there something really wrong with me? Hmm? So this is something in some or the other place almost all of the introverts go through. Hmm? अलग stories हो सकती हैं हम सबकी, but that's the thing. किसी ना किसी से हम ये सुनते ही हैं. Hmm? That's the first thing that happens. Yeah, Kavita, would you like to share?
Yeah, like my story is also somewhere same like yours. You said like being an introvert from childhood and being happy in myself. But now being in the professional life, I really struggle with this being an introvert. Like if I am with the people who I know, I'm really fine and good. If I have to go like that networking is the new thing to bring up the business and all. So if I go to some new, say some conference or somewhere where I don't know people, but they are from my area only, but still I feel so uncomfortable over there. I am hardly able to talk to anyone, and at the end, I just uh, run away from there. So this is a major issue like I am facing right now that I'm not able to uh, like it's not like before also that I was not able to gel up with the society. Like even I don't know who is living beside, like दो घर छोड़ के भी कौन रह रहा है, I don't know in my society, and many people don't know me also. But when you and that doesn't make any effect to me also. But when you go to the professional level, now it is affecting my you can say professional life somewhere, because I try to go and talk to the people, but I'm not able to. I really feel very uncomfortable over
Hmm. Yes, yes, absolutely. I totally understand. And that's the entire intention of having today's conversation. क्योंकि uh, एक चीज हमें समझने की जरूरत है that this is our personality. This is somebody's personality. So
Yeah.
हमें अपने आप को बदलना नहीं है. But then there are some skills, there are some ways in which we can, you know, um, enhance ourselves, or ways in which we can adapt ourselves कि लाइफ में जो ऐसी situations है, especially like professional situations or building interpersonal communication at work, or maybe uh, uh, finding some friends socially and creating a social circle. तो चाहे कुछ भी हो, as introverts also there could be, we need to do some work in life. We have our careers, we have our work. Apart from that, चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए, हमें लाइफ में कभी जरूरत पड़ सकती है. Sometimes we
Right.
could need people, right? We
Mm,
could need help. और इसके अलावा ये भी हो सकता है कि इंट्रैक्शंस, वी मे स्टार्ट फीलिंग लोनली एट टाइम्स, कि ये चीज जब बहुत ज्यादा एक्सटेंट में हो जाती है तो हमें कई बार लोनली भी फील होने लगता है. तो इन
mm,
सारी चीजों को टैकल करने के लिए it's important that we start adapting all of these skills while being introverts. तो हमें अपनी पर्सनालिटी को
mhm.
चेंज नहीं करनी है, बट इस पर्सनालिटी में ही हमें ढूंढना है कि what kind of magic that we can bring to relationships.
Yes, and there is another problem with me, like being an achiever. Most of the time, my this habit of being an introvert and uncomfortable to speak to other, it's being mistaken by my arrogance. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah,
It happens all the time, happens all the time.
mm,
People think you're antisocial, but you're not
yeah,
antisocial because it's not that you don't like people. It's
mm,
not that you have some kind of, jealousy for them or an envy for them, or it's not even like you're arrogant. It's just that small missing link that you don't know how to initiate and you don't know how to
mm,
respond.
right.
That's all. Yeah. So um so when you go forward and in these um meetings and everything, all of these things are happening. Uh what what are the emotions that are coming up inside you, and are there any particular thoughts that you feel at that point of time?
I really feel a kind of you can say I'm scared kind, like uh, I'm really scared to go up and talk to someone and just introduce myself. Or, uh, if somebody comes to me and start talking, I am comfortable with that. Okay, that person introduces himself or herself, and I introduce myself, and then we can have a good talk on a similar topic or something. But I'm really hesitant to go and meet up someone, talk to someone like that. And somewhere I really feel, I'm really feel a feeling of fear or scared like in that environment. And uh, मतलब most of the times conference खत्म होने से पहले I leave.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. Hmm.
it's like
Right.
that I don't belong to that place.
Hmm. Right. Right. Uh, Now, this is something that we need to distinguish. Hmm? कि what you're sharing, hmm? is not necessary.
mm,
First of all, I'll say thank you so much for sharing that because I'm pretty sure, other people here will also relate to it in some or the other way.
mm,
So I'm just taking your story as an example. So what you're sharing needs to be now dissected into two different parts. Hmm? The
mm,
fears and insecurities and all of these things coming up
mm.
is coming from not from the space of introversion. In fact, it has nothing to do with introversion,
Okay.
right? An introvert,
Mm,
so I'm not saying you are not an introvert. You're,
mm,
of course, an introvert, but when just from that personality trait you decide to leave a particular place, you leave
mm,
that place just out of preference. जैसे कि फॉर एन एग्जाम्पल कल लोरी की पार्टी में मुझे नहीं जाना था, मैं नहीं गई, मुझे
mm,
नहीं जाना था, मेरा नहीं मन है, ठीक है, बट at that point of time there was no such sensation in my body, there's no such feeling कि अरे जाऊंगी तो पता नहीं वो आंटी क्या बोलेंगी, ये होगा वो होगा, या फिर
mm,
there's no such thought, there's no such emotion coming up, there's no such shyness or awkwardness or fear of being judged by somebody else, fear of
mm,
being feeling that embarrassment that why would I speak. In fact, I sit in front of people and I just say whatever I feel
mm,
like at times. Sometimes it comes out really stupid and I don't care. So ये दोनों चीजों के बीच में जो फर्क है इसको समझना
mm.
जरूरी है. So the other side of it, the fear side of it is what is not linked to introversion. वो हम introversion से link कर देते हैं क्योंकि ये
Mm.
दोनों जो चीजें हैं ये overlapping हैं.
Okay.
ठीक है, ये दोनों overlap होती हैं और ये एक जैसा दिखता है. A shy person, so we may mistake a shy extrovert like an introvert, but that person is not an introvert. उनका जो भी
Mm,
trauma होगा, wound होगा, उसके कारण से they have become very shy or they have
mm,
anxiety or they have anything like that.
mm,
So because दोनों के characteristics थोड़े थोड़े similar होने लग जाते हैं, तो हम ये mistake कर देते हैं at times.
mm,
So ये जो fears हैं, ये जो insecurity है, first of all इससे डील करना है, ठीक है. और
mm,
हाँ, एक चीज मैं ये बोलूंगी कि जैसे फॉर एन एग्जाम्पल इफ आई टेक माई केस, द काइंड ऑफ बिलीफ सिस्टम दैट आई वाज गिवन दैट देयर समथिंग रॉन्ग विद मी because I have a personality of introversion, now that trauma has gotten aggravated. So दोनों
mm,
मिलके कुछ और बन गया है.
mm,
Hmm?
mm,
So ये चीज हमें समझने की जरूरत है. One is a mental block, an emotional
mm,
block, and
mm,
another is just a personality trait. ठीक है, सो हमें
mm,
बस ये जो मेंटल ब्लॉक्स हैं इन्हीं को क्लियर अप करके प्योर पर्सनालिटी ट्रेट में आना है. जब हम प्योर
mm,
पर्सनालिटी ट्रेट में आ जाते हैं ना एज एन इंट्रोवर्ट,
mm,
अब फॉर एन एग्जांपल, long back we were doing some work in which I had to call some females and talk to them, but मुझे मैसेज करना ठीक है, बट मुझे कॉल करना नहीं हो पाता था मुझसे. ठीक है, आई वुड फील वेरी because I had not developed this muscle of having that communication skill with somebody. But the first superpower that you have as an introvert is that you are naturally a good listener. वो हो सकता है मास्क हो गया हो based on overthinking की habits and everything से, but this is something which can be restored back by practice. Just the same way we have practiced overthinking, the same way we can also practice giving undivided attention to people. Hmm? So when you go to crowded places, when you go to meetings like that, uh, you necessarily don't have to speak to people, but you can listen to people. And trust me, everybody wants to speak in this world. Very few people want to listen, but listening is our superpower. So we can always listen to those people, and that's what when I started uh, speaking to these people, these ladies that I had to speak to, I realized over a period of time कि मुझे कुछ क्वेश्चन समझने हैं, ठीक है, उसके बाद तो मुझे उनके आंसर सुनने हैं। सुनना इज नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम ना। um, I just have to ask them one starting question and they would themselves start sharing their answers and responses and so on and so forth. अब जैसे जैसे किसी के responses आए, ठीक है, अब उन responses से ही I can build up more questions. I can come up with a lot of curiosity that what do you mean by this when you say this. So the so I can tell you example of, for an example, this is a clarification question. You can ask them a clarification question कि इसका क्या मतलब है, hmm? or maybe you can ask them a follow up question कि let's suppose you're going to a gym, somebody shares with you that they're going to the gym or they are looking for this kind of a thing. You ask them a question कि um, अच्छा कितना टाइम हो गया ये करते हुए, क्या इम्पैक्ट आया है, इज दैट बेनिफिशियल, आर यू बेनिफिटिंग फ्रॉम इट, राइट? And they will say that, oh yes, I'm benefiting from like this and this and this, and you share that I tried this, but then you know I then I felt that yoga works out better for me, and they will start sharing something else about yoga, and then you start adding this thing that I went to this place, I went to that place. Hmm? Now, as I'm speaking this thing, as you shared, Kavita, that you are now in a crowded place, hmm, in a crowded environment. तो अब ये वन ऑन वन कॉन्वर्जेशन आपको कैसे करनी है? तो जैसे कि जब मैं क्राउडेड स्पेसेस में होती हूँ, और क्यों, बिकॉज दो स्पेसेस बिकम अ लिटिल कंफ्यूजिंग एंड ओवरवेलमिंग फॉर अस.
Hmm.
So it's not necessarily uh, required that we have to do what other people are doing. So
Hmm.
for an example, मेरे घर पे कीर्तन था थोड़े दिन पहले. अब वो आंटियां नाच रही हैं, ढोलक बज रहा है, सब कुछ हो रहा है, एंड इट्स वेरी अनकंफर्टेबल टू मी. So I very lovingly said this to my mom and the bhabis who were around, that you guys just sit, you guys enjoy, let me take care of the kitchen stuff. ठीक है, तो मैं सबके लिए प्रसाद लगाती हूँ, आप लोग आराम से बैठो, बिल्कुल चिल करो. Hmm? And then
Hmm.
some of them came to help me. Sometimes I took help. Sometimes I was like, yeah, बैठो, कोई problem नहीं है. And I was like, background में ये जो चल रहा है. Let me pick and choose what I want to, how I want to contribute in this situation. तो मैं वो करके नहीं contribute कर पाई, जो normally वहाँ पे सारे लोग कर रहे थे. But
Hmm.
I still contributed in a different way. So in social gatherings, you can, find your own quiet place, right? And
Yeah, you are right.
find, uh,
You are right. Same I had been doing throughout all these years in the social gatherings or any social gathering at my place, that I always used to choose the kitchen, or if I am going out, I would interact a group of relatives that I am comfortable with to interact. But when you are going to the professional circle, and then it sometimes in professional circle also, if I know a few people over there, I'm comfortable. But if I'm going to a very unknown place or something, then it becomes
hmm,
very uncomfortable.
I understand that. Yes, that's a very good example that you have taken. Yeah, so the this example which I was giving is the space where you know somebody, right? At least एक दो लोग हैं पहचान के.
Hmm. Hmm.
So when you are going to completely unknown places where everybody is, new, and everybody is, you don't know anybody and all that, yes, that could be overwhelming. And
Hmm.
let me tell you, it's not just overwhelming for introverts, it's extremely overwhelming at times for extroverts as well.
Okay.
हाँ, so the thing is कि इसमें फिर इंट्रोवर्जन का भी कोई लेना देना नहीं है, ये सबके लिए, ये सारे ह्यूमंस पे अप्लाई करता है. हाँ, एक्सट्रोवर्ट्स के लिए थोड़ा इजी ये हो जाता है कि वो बात करना चालू कर देते हैं और
Hmm.
हमें वो अम, बात करने में कंफर्टेबल नहीं होता. सो इसके लिए प्रोसेस क्या होता है? व्हाट यू डू इज, there are few important factors that we need to take into picture. One is environment. So we are not accustomed to new environments. It's not just new people. हमें new environment भी जल्दी से पसंद नहीं आता है.
Right.
So you go step by step. You first go to a new place and you get really accustomed to the environment, the sitting arrangement, hmm, the how everything is placed around, how what is actually happening. So so first चीज इसमें jump करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है that you have to interact with somebody. The first thing that you do is you find your quiet place and you look around and just be there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Take your time to observe everything. Hmm? And once your body is grounded, once you are physically grounded in your seat, in your place, if you need to look around, you just look around that where's the food or if there is water and
Mm-hmm.
so on and so forth. And then you have to pick up and find, one or two people that you can interact with. So how you can interact with them is the same thing that you don't have to start having small talks with them right
Mm-hmm.
away. What you can do is the purpose for which you're there. So professional in your case, you start talking to them regarding that only.
Okay.
So would you like to take an example for the same?
Yeah, that's right. If we can find one or two person of a same um, profession, you can say, or maybe something similar in us to talk about. Like uh, in one of the conferences I went, and same, I was sitting quiet in a place, and my daughter, she introduced me to someone, and he was also working on cancer. And from there, when the conversation started, I talked for more than an hour with that person because we had like something similar we both were doing, and we had many things to discuss about. And I really became comfortable after that talk in that place. So,
Exactly. Exactly. Right. So with introversion, another myth that, comes up in the picture that we are not talkative. We
yeah,
can be very talkative.
yeah,
It's just that we comfortable
around
with.
the people we are familiar with, we won't even stop talking, you can say.
Exactly, exactly. So it has nothing to do with talkativeness as well. So all you have to wait for in such situations is that, of course, it would require some courage and patience and all that. उसको हम deny नहीं कर सकते हैं.
Mhm,
But just reaching that boiling point
mhm,
कि हाँ अभी that comfort zone वाला space, that how you're going to create that comfort zone for in that new scenario, in that new situation. So this is like also building a muscle. So this is basically just a skill that you're developing for yourself. And like any other skill, the more you practice it, the more it becomes a part of your, you know, second nature. It kind of becomes your second nature. So
mhm.
yeah, we just have to wait for that natural boiling point. Cool, cool. Thank you so much, Kavita, for sharing your story with us and taking it forward. So yeah, introverts are naturally good listeners. So we all can have this. हमें जरूरी नहीं है कि हमें हमेशा चीजें इनिशिएट करनी है. अगर कोई इनिशिएट कर रहा है, then we have to we can learn to respond and bring it to a point where somebody else has. So I'll give you an example. When I sit with people, hmm, and I would just ask them any question out of curiosity. ठीक है? Curiosity is also another thing that is super super important and interesting thing which we have with ourselves. So out of curiosity, you So for an example, a friend of Akarma's came over and we all were sitting. Okay. And they were talking. And I was just simply sitting and listening to these people. And then in that conversation, I just had a curious question. And then I asked that guy, how do you do that? And he was like, then he went on explaining it for, another 10, 15 minutes. And out of that, another thinking. Out of that, another thinking. ये करते करते में ही हमारा कंफर्ट जोन बिल्ड हो जाता है. जब कंफर्ट जोन बिल्ड हो गया एंड आपने सामने वाले की इतनी बातें सुन ली है, अब they want to know about you. Now they have gotten curious. Hmm? And because you have built a comfort zone with them, you will also not have any issues now sharing, your viewpoints or anything that's coming up in that conversation. So ये जो conversation की ball roll करना है, हमें बस ये स्टार्टिंग में थोड़ी सी रोल करनी है, लिसनिंग मोड पे रहना, एंड दैट लिसनिंग needs to be done really, really well. So harness the power of active listening. Be really get curious. एक्टिंग नहीं करनी है सामने वाले को सुनने की, सच में सुनना है. And when you're actively listening to somebody, out of what they're sharing, only there would be 10 things to speak with, to talk about. And then you take the conversation forward. That's the first art that, introverts can um, develop, and they have the thing which is naturally there. It's just that with practice and with polishing, it can be developed even more, and we can communicate to people better, be it at workplace, be it for developing a romantic connection with somebody, be it for um, speaking to people in groups and all that. ठीक है. अब दूसरा एक जो पावरफुल चीज होती है with introverts is that is questioning skills. So the art of asking good questions. So um, अभी अब अगर कोई आके ये बोलने लग जाए, अरे लेकिन मेरे को तो इंटरेस्ट ही नहीं है दुनिया में लोग क्या करते हैं, मेरे को तो जानना ही नहीं है, मेरे को तो जाना ही नहीं है, मेरे को तो ये करना ही नहीं है, then be happy with where you are, right? If you are, then we shouldn't say that, I don't have enough friends and मेरा काम पे ये चीज नहीं बन रही है, वो चीज नहीं बन रही है. The thing is, because we live in an interdependent world, कहीं ना कहीं इन सारे स्किल्स की हमें जरूरत पड़ेगी. लाइक कविता शेयर्ड, प्रोफेशनली शी नीड्स इट. हमें प्रोफेशनली भी पड़ेगी. अब जैसे हमारे कोचिंग क्लाइंट्स होते हैं, राइट? सो आफ्टर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम दे बिकम लाइक अ फ्रेंड, एंड इट बिकम्स लाइक अ गुड सर्कल. बट हम ये बोले कि अरे नहीं नहीं, क्लाइंट एंगेजमेंट खत्म हो गया, अभी तो हमें इससे बात ही नहीं करनी, मुझे तो करना ही नहीं, मुझे तो यही नहीं है, मुझे तो वही नहीं. No. Becoming comfortable in our skin, and also letting other people be comfortable in their skill. वो जैसे भी स्किन जैसे भी है, जो भी है वो ठीक है. हमें बस ये देखना है कि with our personality trait, how far we need to go, in what areas we need to go, and what things we need to do. और अपनी पर्सनालिटी को चेंज करके नहीं, इसको अडेप्ट करके साथ में लेके हम क्या क्या एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हैं, कैसे एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हैं. इन द क्वेश्चनिंग स्किल्स यू कैन आस्क गुड क्लैरिफाइंग क्वेश्चंस टू पीपल. यू कैन आस्क क्यूरियस क्वेश्चंस टू पीपल कि और बताओ मुझे इसके बारे में. और यू कैन जस्ट से कि वाओ, ओ यस, ओ आई कैन सो मच रिलेट टू दिस, अरे मेरे साथ भी सेम है. अच्छा, मुझे तो लगा ऐसा होगा, मुझे तो लगा ये ऐसा होता है. So it's never ever like there's nothing that you have to contribute to a conversation. A lot of people start feeling that I don't have anything to contribute, or if I say something wrong, then all of these things are coming from again mental blocks. So it's never that we don't have anything to say. Uh, Even listening is contribution. Getting to know another person is a contribution. And आपको पूरी सेना नहीं चाहिए हनुमान जी की, आपको कुछ लोग चाहिए. हर जगह पे कुछ लोग चाहिए, ज्यादा लोग नहीं चाहिए. That's just the thing that introverts have, that we need few friends, fewer number of friends. So with those people, we can start developing better connections, good connections, and finding some similar points, finding some differences, and um, getting comfortable with it. Hmm? Okay, so how about others? Anything, any story that you would like to share? Anything that you would like to ask?
Hi, Anamika.
Hi, Sushmita.
Hi. Actually, what I faced is I'm yeah, I studied in regional medium. So
Hmm.
when I go to the I when I talk to other people, they started talking in English, and I'm from middle class family. So when I talk to rich people, I was feeling some eri- hesitation and language related thing. So later, when I joined to a job and started my own financial thing, later I feel comfortable. Yeah, now I'm feeling comfortable. Not that much, but yeah, I'm feeling comfortable with talking to people.
Okay, okay, wonderful.
But yeah, before when I was, my language was not proper. Now also it is not that much proper, but I can communicate. And yeah, these are the two barriers I was facing. Gradually, I'm increasing those things, so now I'm feeling comfortable.
Okay, cool, good. That's good. Thank you for sharing, Sushmita. How about
Thank you.
others? Okay. What else? What else? So, hmm. Yes, CP. Anything you want to share?
Yeah, hi Anamika. I don't have any story as such to share because right now though I feel comfortable with my this introvert personality. But there is one thing which I really want to, achieve, which is like you were talking about ki, uh, you were comfortable in like texting someone rather than calling them up and talking. So I also feel the same. And what happens is when few of my friends, like one or two of my friends, when they text me or when they call me, I get so, overwhelmed with their call ki I just let it go. And whenever I'm comfortable in my own space, I text them rather than calling them. So do you think I need to change it? I mean, instead of texting them, should I call them directly? And if I do, how should I, transcend that space of not calling to calling?
Hmm. Hmm. I can 100% get that. I do the same. I do the same until and unless it gets like really necessary for me to call a friend. Okay,
Yeah.
so till that time, I will postpone and resort to texting. Um, Not necessary. So um, for me, it has been on two sides. I need to check what kind of a friend that is, if that is a close friend or not so close friend. Hmm? Or uh, n- I really need to check this also that if I have also started doing this with a close friend. Hmm? So in case it's not a close friend, um, that's what I resort to. So over a period of time, I have also seen a lot of friendships frizzling out. And It doesn't bother me as well. It doesn't mean that I didn't care for those people or they didn't care for me and all that, but uh, शायद उतनी closeness नहीं थी, right? Or different cities, different places over a period of time. But when I start seeing this thing happening even with close people, then then I really feel that we need to make up some time. We need to build that muscle to have that conversation once in a while. So sometimes when I'm going for evening walks or I'm doing this, because it can really happen with introverts that we can get into our own shell. But जब हम खुद के shell में रहने लग जाते हैं तो over a period of time बाद में ये feel होता है कि अरे यार अब तो मेरा कोई friend ही नहीं है. I feel it a lot of times that I don't have one single friend to call. So इसके लिए I developed a habit कि once in a while I would call my friends. They have kids. We would just, talk about their kids. I would just do a random check about how your family is doing. They would ask how my mom is doing. And if there's anything that's, again, the listening side of it comes into picture. तो हमें जरूरी नहीं है कि हमें उनसे बात ही करनी है. जैसे it's usually my friends talking when I'm on a call with them. So I just ask them questions कि क्या चल रहा है, कैसा चल रहा है. And in a 1 hour call, for 50 minutes I would be listening, for 10 minutes I would be talking. That's the usual ratio. So, yeah. So basically, see, social life we all need, no matter how, on what scale we are introverts, what kind of introvert we all need a social life. We just need to become a little aware कि हम अपनी social life को खुद kill ना कर दें, right? क्योंकि relationships are based out of interdependence. अगर आपको जरूरी नहीं है कि उसमें you have to decorate it like a Christmas tree, but at least if it is a live plant, then you need to at least water it and give it fertilizer. So you don't have to go much go so much on board ki uh, you know like you have to meet people all the time, talk to them all the time. But once in a month, calling somebody is not just something which is um, uh, what should I say, required for them. It's required for us as well. It's required for our mental being. क्योंकि हम कितना भी कुछ भी कितने भी introverts हों, but we still are tribe animals. हमें still life में लोगों की जरूरत होती है. So yeah, we need to keep that on check. That's all I'll say to you. Because क्या होता है, I have another friend and she is probably an even bigger introvert than me. I was very close to her, and she would never call me. She would never speak to me. And what I started feeling like that she doesn't value me enough, right? So अगर वो आपसे कभी कॉल कर रहे हैं, आपसे बात कर रहे हैं, so out of I'm not saying that you need to act or you need to fake it or anything like that, but you care about them. And उनके पास कोई psychic ability नहीं है, mental ability नहीं है to read your mind that you care about them. They're just human beings like you. So they need to know that you do care about them. They exist in your life and they are important to you. So ये इसके लिए तो communication करना ही पड़ेगा. You decide आपको कितने time frame में करना है, कितनी देर करना है, कैसे करना है. You get to know about them. And जब वो आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे तो I guess talking is not the problem. It's just that first initial start of the conversation. So वो स्टार्ट वो जो कॉल करना है ना किसी को, वो सबसे बड़ा एफर्ट हो जाता है. वही सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है. जब कॉल चालू हो जाती है फिर प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती है. इज दैट व्हाट हैपेंस विद यू एज वेल, सीपी?
Actually, the person I'm talking about, she is a bit overbearing for me. So what happens is कि एक से पहले मैं उसका कॉल ही नहीं ले पाती, and when if at all I do decide to talk to her, like you said, we shouldn't let them feel कि we are ignoring them. something. So even then, in between the call, I do feel that beyond this, I would not be able to take it. Whatever she is telling or whatever she is expecting me to say. So even in between the call, now I do feel this feel अब हो गया, now I need to cut it short. तो अब उसके बाद मुझे ये समझ नहीं आता कि how do I politely tell her कि I need to go. So yeah, this is what
Okay.
actually,
Hmm.
this is what happens even with my mother because at times she gets so chatty and I don't share the same, same enthusiasm of talking things to her. So even with her in between, I do feel this is I have reached my upper limit and I need to cut it short. So to do it politely, बहुत बारी वो मुझसे हो नहीं पाता. That is where I
Hmm.
feel that is what I lack.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. So that's a different scenario itself. So, but हाँ इस चीज में फिर इंट्रोवर्जन का कोई लेना देना नहीं है. This is more like इसमें दो तीन चीजें हो सकती हैं. That if she is very overbearing, like your friend I'm talking about, आपकी mom का कुछ नहीं कर सकते उनको. You will have to develop a muscle to
Yeah, right.
listen to her. But
Right.
आपकी friend का तो कर सकते हैं. So I had a friend long time back when I was doing the job. और उस टाइम पे मुझे ना उतनी अवेयरनेस नहीं थी समझने की कि ये बंदी क्या बात करती है. वो बस हम लंच का टाइम होता था, वी वुड गो फॉर अ हाफ एन आवर वॉक आफ्टर लंच एंड शी वुड टॉक एंड ऑल दैट. ठीक है. उतना चलता था, बट देन it became like a ritual that after I left the job, she would call every next day or in 2 days, and she would have long conversations. And that long conversation is all about cribbing and crying about how things are not working out for her. How life is so this and that, and all the blame and all the crying and so on and so forth. और एक टाइम के बाद, just like you're saying, बहुत I was like done. I was like fed up. So, uh, so I had to come to this point कि I don't want to move this friendship forward, regardless of how much time I've spent with her. How much, because वो रुक ही नहीं रही थी. उसको रुकना ही नहीं था. उसको समझ ही नहीं आ रहा था, right? कि रुकना कहाँ पे है. So I decided not to take that friendship forward. But in case uh, there was another person with who was a close friend. So, for an example, there is one close friend that I have who's also in the habit of crying and cribbing all the time, but he's very important to me. He's very close to me. So, so I came to a point where I had to set a boundary with him, and I had to tell him, dude, ये अब इमोशनल डंपिंग हो रहा है, ठीक है. एंड ये चीज करने के लिए आपको इम्पोलाइट होने की जरूरत नहीं है. दिस रियली डिपेंड्स अपॉन द डेप्थ ऑफ कनेक्शन दैट यू हैव विद समबडी. ये आप तभी किसी को बोल सकते हो जब कोई आपसे काफी क्लोज है, राइट. सो आई वाज रियली अपफ्रंट टू हिम एंड आई सेड टू हिम कि डूड, तेको ये करने में क्या मजा आता है. तू इतनी देर से हमेशा तू कोई ना कोई नया टॉपिक लाकर तू ऐसे ही ये कंप्लेनिंग मोड में ही रहता है. तो अभी क्या है, ये कब तक चलेगा. एंड देन ही ब्लैबर्ड अराउंड फॉर सम टाइम, बट देन थोड़ी देर में उसको वो चीज सिंक इन हुई दैट ही इज doing that emotional dumping with everybody, and that's not right. So it was like setting up boundaries with people, that where it's becoming overbearing for you, you communicate to them in the right way, in a very compassionate way, in not in a judgment way or judgmental way. वहां तक पहुंचने नहीं देना है कि आपका घड़ा भर चुका है और आप फट रहे हो. थोड़ा सा उस बॉइलिंग पॉइंट के पहले ही uh, उनको इस अवेयरनेस में आप ला सकते हो कि दिस इज हाउ आई एम फीलिंग एंड दिस इज हाउ द कॉन्वर्जेशन इज गोइंग. सो इससे आगे बढ़ के इसके रेजोल्यूशन के बारे में बात करना है या कुछ और बात करना है, तो यू टेल मी. And um, if that is a close connection, you can work those things out. But if it's not a close connection and the mom and you also have to make continue to have that connection with somebody, then in that case, then you need to really build up the muscle that I need to leave this call for the time being, and yeah, I just need to leave this call. So अगर आपके अंदर ये रेजिस्टेंस आ रहा है कि आप उसको रोको कैसे और ये कैसे बोलो कि आपको जाना है, if you imagine in life, if there was a operation that you had to go for, there was a surgery that you had to go for, उस टाइम पे आप ये सोचते हो क्या कि मैं सामने वाले को कैसे बोलूं कि मुझे जाना है?
Yeah, right. I
उस टाइम
somehow.
पे तो नहीं सोचते ना.
No.
हाँ, you just do that. You just do that क्योंकि उस टाइम पे आपके पास ऑप्शन नहीं है, right? So it's not that you're not capable of doing that, but आपको guilty feel होता है कि how can I lie to myself or how can I do this or that? But then you just have to also realize this one thing, that this is just a waste of time, and you just do that at that time as well. So ये देखने की जरूरत है कि discomfort क्यों आ रहा है. And it's a very common discomfort क्योंकि हमें ये लगता है कि हम सामने वाले को हर्ट कैसे कर सकते हैं, या फिर हम काफी पीपल प्लीजिंग मोड में आ जाते हैं, या फिर हमें ये लगता है कि हमें बहुत स्वीटली किसी से बात करनी है, हम ये ना समझ ले कोई कि हम रूड हैं. द थिंग इज दैट व्हेन it's not about being rude, it's about you're doing it for a certain reason, so you just do that.
Okay. It's more about keeping myself first, thinking about myself, and then proceeding further.
Absolutely, absolutely. uh, you can think about other people as well, but वो उनके बेनिफिट में तो हो, वो
Yeah.
अपने लिए तो कुछ ढंग का कर रहे हो ना. Useless conversations are neither benefiting you nor benefiting them, so nobody is getting benefited. At least you'll get benefited if you cut the call.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anand.
Thank you, thank you. Cool, cool. So this thing, this it reminded me of this word, this guilt. क्योंकि हम खुद ऐसे होते हैं ना कि हमें अच्छा नहीं लगता कि कोई हमें हमारी पर्सनल स्पेस को इंटरप्ट करे, हमारी जो ये सुख शांति की अकेले बैठ के जिंदगी हम बिता रहे हैं उसमें कोई भी बाधा ले आए. दे it feels like people are bothering us, right? So not all the time, sometimes it feels like people are bothering us. तो हम दूसरों को भी उसी फिल्टर से देखने की कोशिश करते हैं कि अगर मैंने इस बंदे को कॉल किया तो मैं इनको परेशान तो नहीं कर दूंगी, अगर मैंने कॉन्वर्जेशन स्टार्ट कर दी तो मैं किसी को परेशान तो नहीं कर दूंगी, right? Having that hesitation, having that thing. But we need to understand this one thing, that um, as humans, all of us want to build connection. Hmm? Um, Connection is a human need. So kahin na kahin, it's not like that it's only us who are looking for connection. We all could be looking for different levels of connections, but हम सबको connection पसंद है, and a person who's genuinely coming and speaking with you, nobody has a problem with that. Hmm? So that's that. What else? Anybody else has anything to say? Akarma, anything that you would like to add?
No, nothing that's coming to my mind right now.
Okay. What else? Um, Another important point is that practice, like anything else, like big situations, um, courage would be required, confidence would be required. So building up that muscle in small ways. See, one thing that I started doing is, it just came to me and randomly happened with me. I was just walking down the street and I just spoke to a shop vendor. And I was just inquiring about some items that I needed and all that. And then I realized it clicked to me at that point of time. That was easy. That wasn't a problem at all. So, so at that point of time, I realized that maybe I need to practice this more for myself. So I started putting myself in situations when Akarma's friends would come over, when I would have, people coming to my house, when I would be going out and I would be meeting people, professional situations, work situations, all of these things. Only initiation is the problem. The moment we become comfortable, it's not the problem, right? That much is clear. So अब ये जो initial phase है, उसमें comfortable होना is the muscle that we need to build. Is something that we need to prepare ourselves over and over again. So you can start with, some vendors, go have a conversation with them कि भैया ये जो है ये आप कहाँ से लाते हो सामान, क्या करते हो? Out of again the genuine curiosity. Start talking to people about things, anything that you wish to start a conversation on. So that इनिशिएशन पॉइंट इज ब्रोकन. जब वो इनिशिएशन पॉइंट ब्रेक हो जाता है और जब हमें आदत हो जाती है ये इस स्पेस में रहने की, कि हमें जरूरी नहीं है कि एज एन इंट्रोवर्ट हमें उस स्पेस में रहना है. बात ये है कि हमें कभी कभी उसमें रहना पड़ता है. सो जब हम नहीं है तब तो हम हैप्पी गो लकी हैं, बट व्हेन वी बिल्ड दिस मसल तो हमें ये पता चल जाता है कि अब इन कॉन्वर्जेशंस को हैंडल कैसे करना है. Otherwise, we are like, हमारा जो ये some areas of our brain respond differently compared to extroverts. तो जैसे कि दिमाग में बत्ती जलती है ना, उनकी अलग तरीके से जलती है, हमारी अलग तरीके से जलती है. तो अगर हमारी अलग तरीके से जलती है तो हमें ये समझना पड़ेगा कि हमारी कब जलती है और कैसे जलती है. उसी उस बॉइलिंग पॉइंट हमारी दिमाग की बत्ती जलती है. अब हमें ये देखना है कि हम कैसे ये कंफर्टेबल हो जाए इस चीज में कि हम उस बॉइलिंग पॉइंट तक अपने आप को लेके आ सकें. सो that's something that we can practice. And what else? Yeah, practice. That's important. Start small, wherever you want to start it. Neighbors. Smiling is another thing. I was forgetting it. Smiling is one beautiful thing. Doesn't cost you anything. I have seen, like, literally, you guys won't believe me, with strangers. I, I, I keep doing these experiments all the time. So I would just go and I would just smile at people. And I'm not smiling because just I'm doing the experience. I'm genuinely smiling. And I've seen that a lot of people respond back really nicely. So I was just crossing the road sometime. This beautiful thing that happened that day. So I was crossing the road and there was this guy who was coming from the other side. And I stopped my Activa. I was on Activa and he was passing through and I gave him the way and he looked at me and he had a smile on my face and he gave me back a very genuine smile and he said thank you and he just left. And it was a beautiful moment. I don't know that person. I'm not going to meet that person ever again. But if I was in a scenario where I could, it was definitely a great start, right? But at that point of time, and I built my muscle. I built my muscle. And I continue to do this with, all sorts of people that I can meet on the way, right? So that's one thing. Smiling doesn't cost you anything. Smile at people. It gives them an idea that you're open, right? And one more thing that I wanted to share with you guys. What was it? Okay, I don't remember it right now. Anybody else wants to share anything? हाँ, मुझे पता है। मैं ये बोलने वाली थी कि हमें ये भी कई बार fears and insecurities होते हैं because of whatever things that uh, place uh, in whatever way we have been raised कि अगर सामने वाला मेरे बारे में क्या सोचेगा, right? Or um, maybe this person will think badly about me, or maybe I'll make a mistake, or maybe I'll not do things right, or maybe this person will not like me enough. But the thing is, you don't like everybody either, right? You don't like everybody that you meet. You don't resonate to everybody, vibe with everybody that you meet. So you don't have to go on this extroverts की वो होता है ऐसा लगता है कि everybody likes them and everybody is cheering with them and everybody is following them and all that. ऐसा होता नहीं है. ऐसा हमें सिर्फ दिखता है because it's loud and it's right there in front of us. तो हमें ये समझने की जरूरत है कि first of all that is a fallacy. That's not true. Secondly, we need to understand कि um, not everybody is gonna like us and that's okay. You're not building connections. You first of all, don't need everybody in your life. And you don't have to always pass the test. This is not like an exam that you have to pass. You're just up for building connections. कहीं पे बनेंगे, कहीं पे नहीं बनेंगे, and that's okay, right? जहाँ पे बनेंगे, it's a win. जहाँ पे नहीं बनेंगे, let it go, right? But अगर आप कुछ नहीं करते, तो ऐसे भी नहीं बन रहे थे, right? That's that. Another thing is we all can be we all can work upon our body language, the gestures, the facial expressions, the way we do hand movements, the way we do facial movements, head movements, all of these things, because not all communication is verbal communication. There's a lot of non-verbal communication happening as well. So when people are speaking to you, you tilt your head in a certain way, and or maybe you sit with your fingers on your chin and you are listening to them and you show them genuine curiosity. So the person gets the message that you are available and you are speaking and you are communicating with them. When you're curious, you can allow it to come on your face and show that curiosity to them. Cool. These could be some of the strategies which we could always follow in the professional life, personal life, while confidently speaking to people. And social skills is one of the importance of emotional intelligence. And there is a very good reason why it is so. So basically, emotional intelligence has 5 components. Self-awareness, self-regulation, self-motivation, empathy, and social skills. An emotionally intelligent person, regardless if they are introverts, regardless if they are extroverts, whatever personality trait or things that we belong to, if we need to lead an emotionally intelligent life, हम अपने रूम में बैठ के अपनी लाइफ नहीं बिता सकते. सब्जी लेने तो बाहर जाएंगे ही, है ना? तो कहीं ना कहीं social skills and everything is required by us. And the more we develop these skills, we need to see the interconnection between all of these. This is not something a component of emotional intelligence which is talked a lot. But when we develop these social skills, when we develop these communication skills, we are, like Kavita was sharing, of course she would be able to take forward her प्रोफेशन डिफरेंटली. क्योंकि अभी पार्टी से निकलना नहीं है, मीटिंग से निकलना नहीं है. अभी वी हैव फिगर्ड आउट वेज हाउ टू स्टे देयर, हाउ टू होल्ड ऑन to stay there. और जब मीटिंग खत्म हो जाएगी तो सब एक साथ थोड़ी आके बातें करेंगे. आपको तो you have to speak to a small group only, right? You just have to look at this thing कि ये जो crowd आपको overwhelm कर रहा था, now you have learned how to deal with it, how to sustain that period over a period of time. और कुछ हम कर नहीं सकते because what she wants to achieve professionally, this is needed for her, this is required for her, this is not a choice, this is a necessity for her. If we need to, अगर आपकी शादी होती है, आपका partner is an extrovert and he or she has a lot of friends, आप हमेशा ये argument नहीं दे सकते that I don't want to come. Once in a while you will have to get to know people, catch up with people. So you develop these skills कि आपको वही 2-3 लोग ढूंढने हैं उस पूरी भीड़ में, उनके साथ comfortable होना है, and you just pick your corner, stay there, right? And you communicate. More you listen to people, ask them good questions, be curious, learn how to sit confidently, how to have a confident body posture, so that सामने वाले को ये नहीं लगना चाहिए that you are not disinterested. We don't do that intentionally, but वो हो जाता है. So सिर्फ इन सारे cues को सुनना है, awareness लेके आनी है और इनको manage करना है. And then practice, practice, practice. And the more you learn this, the more you will grow in life, and thus because you will have more people to speak to, you will get to know more information, higher will be amount of empathy that you will develop for people, higher will be amount of emotional regulation. ठीक है, क्योंकि अभी ऐसा होता है क्योंकि हमने ये प्रैक्टिस नहीं किया है, तो हम इन सिचुएशंस को अवॉइड करके इनसे भाग जाते हैं. बट व्हेन वी प्रैक्टिस टू sometimes be in the social environment, build that muscle, we have learned practically on our face how to self-regulate, how to emotionally regulate ourselves. We develop, we connect more with ourselves in that environment. We see कि क्यों हमें anxious feel हो रहा है, right? Because a little bit of anxiety can be about being an introvert and all that. Little bit of awkwardness can be about being an introvert, but a lot of it comes from the space of fears and insecurities. तो जब तक हम इन environments में होंगे नहीं, हम अपने आप को टेस्ट नहीं कर पाएंगे. And there are a lot of people who come up and say इंट्रोवर्जन मेरा प्रॉब्लम है. इंट्रोवर्जन किसी का प्रॉब्लम हो ही नहीं सकता क्योंकि वो सिर्फ और सिर्फ एक पर्सनालिटी ट्रेट है. इट कैन नॉट बी एनीबॉडीज प्रॉब्लम. प्रॉब्लम है all of the other things which we mix up with introversion and then get confused. कितने सारे लोग आके ऐसे बोलते हैं कि because I'm an introvert, I have trouble doing this, I have trouble doing that, I have trouble doing this and that. कुछ troubles हैं personality से related which we talked about, but there are a lot of troubles which are not even linked to this personality type. One-on-one conversations में introverts को problem नहीं होती है. And a lot of people will come and say कि मैं ये बंदी को अप्रोच नहीं कर सकती, मैं ये बंदे को अप्रोच नहीं कर सकता क्योंकि मैं इंट्रोवर्ट हूँ. That's not true, right? Introverts, if they don't have fears and insecurities, they can literally approach people one-on-one. Problem is in the crowded scenario. Problem is in the social gatherings. And जब there's too much stimuli, we cannot handle too much stimuli. We are sensitive to it. उससे प्रॉब्लम है. वन ऑन वन इंटरेक्शन से उतनी ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम है नहीं, एंड स्पेशली व्हेन यू लाइक समबडी, सो वी रियली नीड टू बिकम सेल्फ अवेयर. और जब हम इन सोशल सिचुएशंस में होते हैं, ये प्रैक्टिस कर लेते हैं, और फिर भी हम जब उन प्रॉब्लम से स्ट्रगल करते हैं तो हमें समझ में आता है कि इंट्रोवर्जन तो कभी प्रॉब्लम था ही नहीं. इंट्रोवर्जन कैन बी टैक्ल्ड इन अ ब्यूटिफुल वे बिकॉज इंट्रोवर्ट्स हैव मेनी ब्यूटिफुल क्वालिटी वर्ड्स के पास नहीं होती. So we can always support the world in a different way by being amazing listeners, by being, you know, people who can provide space and all that. So yeah, that's how we when we focus on this particular component of emotional intelligence, we develop the other parts of emotional intelligence. And of course, self-motivation, the last part which was left. When you start doing these things, you become more confident. The more confident you become, the more motivated you get. Hmm? So that is the role of social skills, developing communication and social skills um, for developing emotional intelligence. Does that make sense, guys? Um, you can just let me know by thumbs up, or if any of you wish to speak, you can just unmute and speak. Okay, makes sense from Anjusha, Kavita, Sushmita. Okay, cool, great, cool. If you guys have nothing to add or say, then we'll wrap up. Yes, yes, Amrita, anything you want to say?
I was confused like whether I should talk this or not. Like the scenario which I had faced in my college days, where I went to a guy asking exactly what I wanted to talk. He misunderstood that I wanted to get his number. So I felt like, is it the way I wanted to convey the message to him, or because of my behavior, he has taken that as I wanted to take his number and all.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, I don't know, but अगर आपने ऐसी कोई चीज उनको बोली नहीं और ऐसा कुछ किया नहीं, then I would just simply say that there are stupid people in this world and they understand stupid things. So for an example, मैं आपको बताती हूँ, मैं विपश्यना करने गई हुई थी, ठीक है? और एक बंदा था वहां पे, बड़ा सिंसियरली विपश्यना करता था बैठ के पीछे, ठीक है? he seemed like a really कैसे बोलना चाहिए, बिल्कुल मुझे पता चला कि उसने 20 टाइम्स किया है वो पिछले 8-10 साल से, बस विपश्यना ही कर रहा है. सो मेरे दिमाग में एक ये थी कि मैं उससे कुछ सीख सकती हूँ, है ना? मैं उससे कुछ जान सकती हूँ. सो आई वेंट टू हिम एंड आई टोल्ड, मैंने तो नंबर मांगा. आपने तो शायद नंबर मांगा नहीं होगा, मैंने नंबर मांगा. अब मैंने उसको बोला कि देखिए, अगर मुझे कोई भी ऐसे क्वेश्चन आता है या मुझे कुछ पूछना है तो मैं आपसे हेल्प ले सकती हूँ क्या? तो उस बंदे ने बोला हाँ हाँ हेल्प ले सकते हो, जो हेल्प लगेगी मैं आपको गाइड करूंगा. मैंने बोला ठीक है. उसके बाद मैं घर आ गई. उसके बाद वो बंदा मुझे कॉल करना चालू करे, राइट? एंड देन ठीक है, मैंने एक बार बात की, मैंने उससे क्वेश्चन पूछा कि आप कैसे प्रैक्टिसेस करते हैं, दुनियादारी करते हैं, उसने मुझे बताया, मैंने कॉल रख दिया. उसके बाद कॉल करके उल्टी सीधी बातें करने लग जाए. तो द थिंग इज कि मैंने उससे नंबर मांगा था कि बस इतना ही, कुछ गाइडेंस अगर लेना, क्वेश्चन पूछना हो, एंड ही सेड यस, देन ओनली आई टुक हिज नंबर. ही व्हाट ही अंडरस्टूड कि मैं उस पे लाइन मार रही हूँ. तो अब ऐसे स्टूपिड लोगों का क्या करोगे बताओ? कुछ कर सकते हैं?
नहीं.
एग्जैक्टली, एग्जैक्टली. इसका हमसे कोई लेना देना नहीं है. विल फाइंड ऑल सॉर्ट्स ऑफ पीपल इन दिस वर्ल्ड. हाँ, cool, cool. Anybody else has anything to say? और एक चीज और, एक मसल और मैंने बिल्ड की विद, आई कैन शेयर विद यू गाइस फ्रॉम अ पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस, कि पहले मुझे ना बहुत ऐसा लगता था कि कहीं मैं कुछ गलत ना बोल दूं, कहीं मैं कुछ ऐसा ना बोल दूं कि जो परफेक्ट नहीं है, और मुझे हमेशा सही तरीके से सही चीज बोलनी है एंड ऑल दैट. एंड ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम आई रियलाइज दिस वन थिंग, दैट नोबडी केयर्स, नोबडी रिमेम्बर्स. ठीक है? सो बचपन में ऐसा हुआ था एक दो बार that I said something stupid and you know people made fun of me and all that, which kind of scarred me that I became very cautious and all that. And उस caution में मैं कई बार ऐसी भी चीजें नहीं बोलती थी जो बोलने का मेरा मन होता था, जो मैं बोलना चाहती थी, right? And over a period of time, I realized कि nobody cares. Trust me. आपके सामने कितने सारे लोगों ने कितनी stupid बातें की होंगी. You remember any of those? No. हम सब सिर्फ अपने बारे में सोचते रहते हैं. हम किसी और के बारे में नहीं सोचते रहते हैं. ये हमें लगता है कि सामने वाला हमारे बारे में सोचता होगा, नहीं। और अगर ऐसा कुछ हो भी गया ना, कितने टाइम, एक दिन, 2 दिन, बस मैक्सिमम लिमिट है। सो उस एक कुछ गलत ना बोल देने के चक्कर में यू डोंट हैव टू stop yourself from speaking 100 other beautiful things that you wanted to speak. So that is another mental block that needs to be seen. आर्टिकुलेशन ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम होता है। हम पहले ही दिन वर्ल्ड के बेस्ट टेनिस प्लेयर नहीं बनते हैं। लाइकवाइज एक अच्छा आर्टिकुलेशन भी प्रैक्टिस करने से आता है। कोई भी बंदा जब स्पीच देने जाता है ना, एक अच्छी स्पीच डिलीवर करने के पहले 20 से 25 बार प्रैक्टिस करके जाता है, राइट? सो द थिंग इज दैट these all are communication skills. Over a period of time they will get developed. The point is that you start working. और हो सकता है कि परफेक्ट सेंटेंसेस, परफेक्ट वर्ड्स, परफेक्ट चीजें ना निकले, एंड दैट्स ओके बिकॉज नोबडी केयर्स, राइट? सो दैट्स दैट। हाँ, अब नोबडी केयर्स का मतलब ये भी नहीं है कि हम कुछ भी बोलने लग जाएंगे एंड वी विल स्टार्ट स्पीकिंग माइंडलेसली। हमें माइंडफुल रहना है, माइंडफुलनेस की तो बात है ही, बट देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन बीइंग माइंडफुल एंड बीइंग कॉशियस। माइंडफुल रहना है, कॉशियस रहने की जरूरत नहीं। ठीक है, cool. Anything that you would like to add, Akarma, for these communication or social skills or related to emotional intelligence?
You've covered it all. ऐसे तो मेरे दिमाग में कुछ आ नहीं रहा है इसमें ऐड करने का, unless someone has any specific question they want to talk about, but as such बिना किसी क्वेश्चन के समझ नहीं आता कि और क्या बताएं, because this is an open discussion, so it's not a presentation that we kind of just prepared, and objective is कि क्वेश्चन आंसर हो, इंटरेक्शन हो, तो उसके बेसिस पे ज्यादा कुछ बता सकते हैं। ऐसे अपनी तरफ से तो I can't really think of what else to say.
Yeah, nothing comes to my mind as well. ठीक है, अगर किसी को questions नहीं है, then keep us posted. You guys can always post whatever you feel like, anything you wish to share or any questions that you have in Conscious Relationship Circle, and we'll see you.
Kavita asked question about the professional side of things. So Kavita, did you get answer or satisfaction? कुछ मिला आपको अपने क्वेश्चन से रिलेटेड?
Yeah, Karma, I really got my answers. Now I know how to navigate through this, and I'll definitely try all the points given by Anamika next time whenever I go to such a place. Thank you so much.
ठीक है, ठीक है. All right. Okay. All right. Thanks everyone. Thank you for joining. Okay. We'll meet up
Thank you,
in
guys.
some other talk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Bye.
Great evening.
Bye.
Bye bye.